A peace offering, Bumpy. What's the catch, Genovese? No catch, just business.
Harlem, 1957. A candlelit table in a quiet Little Italy restaurant. Vito Genovese, ruthless boss of the Genovese crime family, the man who'd clawed his way to the top by poisoning rivals and ordering hits on his own allies, sits across from Ellsworth Bumpy Johnson, Harlem's unbreakable king. They're supposed to be negotiating peace. Vito pours the wine himself, hands Bumpy the glass with a smile too thin to trust. Bumpy lifts it, pauses, smells something off, bitter, metallic, faint as a whisper. He meets Vito's eyes, then without a word he switches the glasses. Vito freezes. Bumpy raises the swapped glass in a toast to new beginnings. Vito drinks. Within hours, the poison that was meant for Bumpy is burning through Vito's veins. By morning, the most powerful mafia boss in America is convulsing in a hospital bed, his empire crumbling, his secrets spilling, his name ruined. One switch, one night, and the man who thought he could kill Harlem's king lost everything. By 1957, Bumpy Johnson had spent decades holding Harlem's rackets, numbers, protection, policy against every white mobster who tried to take it. Dutch Schultz dead, Lucky Luciano deported. Now Vito Genovese, fresh from ordering the hit on Frank Costello, which failed, wanted Harlem's millions for himself. Vito sent word, a dinner, peace talks, neutral ground in Little Italy. Bumpy agreed but brought his own precautions. He knew Vito's history. Poison was Vito's favorite coward's weapon. The restaurant was small, exclusive, closed for the night, only trusted waiters. Vito arrived first, flanked by capos. Bumpy walked in alone, no visible bodyguards, but his men waited blocks away. They sat, small talk, wine poured. Vito insisted on serving Bumpy personally, handing him the glass with a nod, to mutual respect. Bumpy took it, swirled, the faint almond scent hit him, cyanide, subtle but unmistakable to a man who'd survived too many attempts. Bumpy didn't flinch, didn't accuse, just smiled that calm, dangerous smile. He set his glass down, reached across casually, as if adjusting the candle, and swapped the glasses in one smooth motion. Vito's eyes widened for a split second. Bumpy raised the new glass, to your health, Vito. Vito hesitated, but pride and the room full of his own men forced his hand. He drank. Bumpy sipped from the safe one, watched. They finished dinner in tense silence. Vito laughed too loud, Bumpy stayed cool. An hour later, Vito excused himself. In the bathroom, the cramps started. By the time he reached his car, sweat poured down his face. He collapsed in the back seat, convulsing. His driver rushed him to a private doctor. Word spread fast through the families, Vito's sick, bad. Vito survived the night barely, but the poison left him weak, paranoid, vomiting blood for days. Doctors couldn't explain it publicly. Whispers reached the commission. Genovese tried to poison Bumpy and failed. The other bosses, already wary of Vito's ambitions, saw weakness. Meetings happened without him, territories shifted, allies drifted. Bumpy, he stayed silent, but Harlem knew the king had turned the blade back on the assassin. Vito's underlings panicked. Some fled, others talked to cops, to rivals. Secrets spilled, old murders, rigged games, payoffs. The feds smelled blood. Within weeks, indictments dropped. Narcotics charges, extortion. Witnesses who'd been silent for years suddenly remembered everything. Vito's health never recovered. He aged a decade in months. The year was 1957. Appalachian, New York. A sprawling estate hidden in the hills, where the air smelled of pine and ambition. The Mafia Commission, America's underworld parliament, gathered in secret once more. Dons from the 5 families plus a few trusted allies sat around a long oak table under crystal chandeliers that had no business being in a farmhouse. They came to settle scores, redraw lines, and crown kings. But one chair remained empty. Vito Genovese, the ambitious underboss who'd clawed his way toward boss of bosses, lay bedridden in a private suite miles away. His body betrayed him, age, stress, the slow poison of his own relentless drive. Doctors whispered about heart trouble, circulation failing. He couldn't attend in person. So he sent representatives, sharp-eyed capos loyal to the Genovese family, carrying his proxy vote and his burning grudge. The topic turned to Harlem. Always Harlem. The numbers racket still poured millions through Bumpy Johnson's hands. The policy wheels spun day and night, cash flowing like the Harlem River after rain. But none of it trickled up to the commission the way the old men wanted. Bumpy paid tribute, yes, but on his terms. A handshake deal from the Lucky Luciano days held firm. Harlem stayed black, independent, untouchable. Vito had never liked it. Now, with power slipping through his fingers like sand, he saw opportunity. His men spoke for him. "Harlem's ripe," one capo said, voice low and oily. "Bumpy's getting old, his grip weakens, we move quiet, push in new runners, new muscle, cut him out slow." Another nodded. "Vito says the agreement's outdated, the neighborhood surrounded, we have the strength." They waited for the room to murmur agreement. Instead, a heavy silence fell. Eyes flicked toward the door as if expecting Bumpy himself to walk in like he had that warehouse basement decades earlier. Then the laughter started, low at first, then sharp and mocking. "Boss of bosses," one capo from a rival family sneered, leaning back in his chair. "You couldn't even poison a colored numbers runner." The room erupted. Laughter rolled across the table like thunder. They remembered the stories, Vito's quiet attempts years back to undermine Bumpy through subtle means, tainted product, whispered threats, even a rumored poisoning plot aimed at the Harlem kingpin himself. None succeeded. Bumpy sniffed out every move, turned every knife back on its sender. Now the commission mocked Vito openly. His proxies sat red-faced, fists clenched under the table. Vito's grip slipped that night. Not just on the commission table, but on his own empire. The laughter echoed in reports back to his sickbed. Loyal soldiers began to whisper. Allies hedged bets. The family fractured quietly. Some still feared Vito's name, others saw the cracks and started looking elsewhere. Power vacuums don't last long in the underworld. Into that widening gap stepped Bumpy Johnson, quiet, calculating, always watching. He didn't gloat. He expanded. More corners in Harlem. More policy banks under his protection. More street soldiers swearing loyalty. Even some Italian crews, once arrogant, now cautious, began to treat him with new respect. They feared crossing him now. Not because of numbers alone, but because of reputation. Bumpy had stared down Dutch Schultz, outlasted attempts on his life, and now watched the mighty Vito Genovese fade without firing a shot. The Italians who once plotted in shadows now sent quiet emissaries. Handshakes replaced sneers. Territory lines redrawn not by force but by the simple truth: Harlem belonged to Bumpy and challenging him meant bleeding for it. In the end, the commission didn't turn on Vito with bullets. They turned with laughter. And in that laughter, Bumpy heard opportunity. He took it. One quiet step at a time. The throne grew larger. The king grew stronger. And the streets whispered his name with something new: awe, fire. For the man who turned mockery into empire, Bumpy in his later prime, suit sharp, eyes sharper. Harlem expanded under his shadow. The commission learned some kings don't need a crown. They just need respect and the will to take it. By 1959, Vito Genovese was convicted on federal narcotics charges, 15 years. He died in prison in 1969, broken, alone, his name a cautionary tale. Bumpy never boasted, never needed to. The story spread in whispers. Vito tried to poison him. Bumpy switched the glasses. And the man who wanted to rule everything lost it all. One switch, one night. Harlem's king didn't just survive. He made sure his enemy drank his own poison. And the underworld bowed deeper than ever before.